I don't think I would be alone in thinking that, ever since Season 15, Overwatch has flipped the script, or rather, thrown it out entirely. We went from barely any new interesting content and a glorified skin simulator, to systems like perks, stadium, map voting, hero bans, off the top of my head, and I'm probably forgetting things because there has simply been so many things. And it seems to continue with Season 18. What I specifically am interested in here are the new perks and patch in general, and that is where I think the essence of Overwatch's future hides in. What is this essence, and why do I think it will work? Before anything else, if you enjoy my content, consider subscribing. I'm trying to get to 1,000 and you have the power to help me with that. To understand the change of Overwatch, we first need to talk about the past, and let's not beat around the bush. The first year of Overwatch 2 was horrible, trash, depressing, sad, greedy, ignorant, slow, disingenuine. At this point, take any negative word from the dictionary and it would describe Overwatch 2 at its launch. There was this disconnect between their words and reality. Heroes were behind paywalls and they justified it by making the game less counter heavy. They promised that they would get rid of hard counters but keep soft counters to keep the spirit of counterpicking. But as we all know, counterpicking to this day is still huge and it never went away. It has always been like that and probably will stay until we die. They didn't listen to community feedback effectively and killed the game's ranked mode for a while. The game sucked straight ass for a long time in my opinion, until something changed. After doing the same shit over and over again for years, we started seeing something change. The devs started talking more, sharing more. It's like they all of a sudden were a different team behind the game. And turns out that's pretty much the case. There are new people running this game. It's not the same people who developed Overwatch 1 and the start of Overwatch 2. Also, I think Microsoft plays a big part in this. I'm not trying to glaze them for this or anything, but I think ever since the transition of leadership, Overwatch has felt more free. They don't care about making mistakes. They want to try things and experiment, even if it isn't safe. Constantly making risky decisions that could have a bad effect, but still doing it anyway, just to see what happens, for the pursuit of something better. Call it Rivals Effect, call it anything you want, I'm just glad it's finally here. Overwatch finally is turning itself into something it wasn't yesterday, and that is something worth noticing and appreciating. We aren't stuck anymore, and it feels so good to be an Overwatch player right now. This is the change of philosophy I'm talking about. The vision has changed. When I look at the first season of Overwatch 2, all the way up to until season 9 or so, I genuinely, honestly think their vision for the game was just to make money. There wasn't anything over the horizon. All we saw was a mirror, showing us something we have already seen dozens of times. Contrast that with today, where I couldn't be more excited about the future. Forget perks, stadium and all this. This is just the start. This is the point in the game's history, the direction finally has changed, and I have a feeling it's only gonna get better. Previously, I felt like the path this game was on was completely straight. Right now, we are on a path with multiple different ways and crossroads, and I don't know the direction. All I know is that the road ahead is something we haven't seen yet. I don't know where you can find it, but I'm pretty sure Aaron Keller himself has said that they aren't going to stand by anymore, that they want to actively make changes and evolve. No more walling community feedback, no more playing it safe, and I don't think there has been a better decision made since Overwatch 1 was launched. Overwatch and Blizzard in general has shown throughout history that people cannot trust their words. Whether it's counterpicking, new contents, PvE, they just can't mumble a sentence that reflects their intentions. But Overwatch Season 18 is proving that it doesn't have to stay that way. When they called themselves out and stated that playing it safe is not an option anymore, they weren't lying. Stadium is one of the biggest things going for Overwatch right now, and they are not holding back when it comes to changes. Even if people didn't ask for it, they are constantly adding new heroes with weird stuff that could break the game easily. But that's not what I'm even talking about. They are adding a whole draft stage where you pick heroes one after another, and on top of that, a rule where you can't pick the same hero as the enemy player. This changes everything, and there's already lots of voices, opinions, and takes about this. This is a big change, and things like that are always gonna have a lot of opinions and differing opinions. But to me, this is exactly what it's all about. This kind of testing and experimenting is exactly what makes a game interesting. When there is a common sentiment that reads something is either good or bad, if something is generally good, then hell yeah, make more of it. And if everyone thinks that something is bad, yeah, maybe don't continue. But when there is something that no one can agree on and a constant debate whether it's good or bad, that process of figuring it out is what leads to a better understanding of the whole, and it's always more interesting to observe rather than something being overwhelmingly agreed upon by the large majority. I for one think this change might make Stadium even more of its own unique thing from the rest of the game, and definitely is something we should try. Only that statement alone is probably going to spawn 10 differing opinions, and I love that. When perks initially came out, my biggest issue with them was the way they were distributed. Some heroes had strong and fun perks like Ana, but some heroes got really boring and weak ones like Hook restoring only 2 ammo or getting 25 extra damage upon eliminations. In Season 18, many of these perks were replaced with new ones. Genji now can reduce dash cooldown with melee, which is exactly what I'm talking about. Roadhog's range increases. This is what perks are supposed to do. Make the hero different somehow. The difference between these new perks and Season 15 perks is that by picking them, something in your gameplay changes. Even if it's small, it really makes a difference. However, I don't think every perk should be this way, just to make my opinion clear. Sometimes just a number buff or a slight change can be good too, so it's not completely one-sided. And all of this goes along with their intention of evolving the game and keeping it away from going bland. But that poses a new question. Updates, new things, new systems, new buttons. When does it become a real issue born from too much? There is a valid concern about Overwatch having too many updates and moving parts. This new approach to things has only been around for a few months, and already it's becoming too much for some players. When listening and listening to all these updates, it sounds like a whole mountain of things, but in practice, you don't really have to take part in most of them if it feels like too much. Like Stadium, it's like an entire new version of Overwatch, but if you so choose to, you don't ever have to know what drafting even means. At the same time, the updates merge into the game pretty seamlessly and don't affect the experience that much, in a way that would make Overwatch overcomplicated or noisy. But also, I'm just one person and my perspective might not be the same as others. I think over-evolution is a term we shouldn't be using at the moment. All these updates have straight up just made the game better, and the fear of it becoming an overwhelming lump of new things is not that concerning. Why not say fuck it and try to make the game better than it was before? If it becomes too much, then they should have the brain to tone it down. I get that the fear of losing something old that you liked for something new is not pleasant, but that is not how the game becomes better. Overwatch isn't a game that can survive without refreshing updates. People lose interest. And besides, it looks like to me the new systems and stuff is going to slow down a bit. From Season 15 to Season 18, there's been a big burst of things, so I don't know if they're going to keep this up as it has been so far. Obviously, they are probably working on lots of new things, and reworking old things like arcade mode is being worked on, and that's how it needs to be. The game isn't going to stay the same because it can't. I'm just gonna throw a word out in the air. Fortnite. If you compare Fortnite launch to Fortnite today, you would probably feel nauseous. The game isn't even remotely the same, and that is what allowed the game to reach new heights and evolve into something better. People will miss the OG days, and that's fine, but you can't use it as an excuse to not try to go forward with changes. So over-evolving shouldn't be an issue, at least yet. Besides, in terms of gameplay, it is still Overwatch. That hasn't gone anywhere. The same principles still apply, and you can tell it's Overwatch. As long as the premise of the game doesn't change and you still recognize the game, does it really matter if it changes? As long as the intention is to make the game better. Now that the game has had a change of mind about how they're going to approach new seasons, how is Season 18 feeling? We got a lot of new stuff, new perks, stadium updates, a big balance patch, new progression system that I have some things to say about. Oh, and Wu Yang, of course. Wu Yang I have already covered. He ended up getting some buffs, which I'm not that surprised about. He now seems quite good and everything seems fine with him. New perks are really good, at least most of them are. I like Junker Queen perks because they make her OP and fun to use. Also, Genji and D.Va got something new that feels fresh and nice. Most perks felt good, but also there are perks like Doomfist Seismic Slam Slow and Sojourn Slow. These don't seem to me as good, because this is the type of stuff that makes a hero just a fucking misery to play against. But I don't know, maybe they aren't so bad. Some much needed bug fixes and decent changes. Now the progression system. That isn't what I thought it would be. Before I talk about the current system, I want to go back to Overwatch 1. In Overwatch 1, the levels you earned were not tied to any battle pass or system. It was your account level and nothing more. You get levels and loot boxes every time you go to a new level. The cool thing about this system was that your level upgraded your portrait that evolved as you played the game, from bronze to silver to gold, plat, and finally diamond. This was really cool because you could see your progression every time you got to higher levels, and seeing the color and rank go up was also very rewarding. In Overwatch 2, they got rid of this, which was sad, but now in Season 18, they're finally reintroducing something like it. But it wasn't what I was expecting. Rather than the border be in your bottom left when you play, it is only and only in the hero selection screen. And my question is, why? Why not use it in the place the levels used to be in? And if you're concerned about rank portraits in competitive, I respectfully don't give a fuck. Merge them, just put the rank on top of the level border. The thing is, why the fuck would I be interested in the level border if I can't see it? I would love for it to be visible in bottom left behind the hero portraits, because that's where it should be. If I record my gameplay and hit a nice clip or something, I want a cool level border to be in that clip, not when I'm discussing my team's possible comp during the hero selection. Like, do you see what I'm trying to say here? I thought having it behind the hero portrait was the entire point. In other games like Valorant, where you don't have anything during gameplay in terms of hero or level portraits, felt always disappointing to me compared to Overwatch 1. And now we are moving towards that even when making these systems come back in Overwatch 2. Like, why? What is the reason? Maybe I'm the minority, I don't know. Having the portrait in hero selection sure is cool, but why wouldn't it just be when I play as well? Most times I'll not even be looking at the fucking screen when they are visible, so there's no reason for me to get any joy from these portraits. And if people's reason of wanting these portraits is to show it to other players, I think that completely misses the point. Yeah, flexing is fun, but is it not more important to have it for yourself? I don't know, maybe I'm going way too far into this. I just think it was a massive missed opportunity and a gigantic letdown. These type of things are for having a better experience, but if I'm being real, the experience of picking my hero is not the experience I came here for. I just want to know if there are any other people thinking the same thing. And if we're gonna talk about things that are less than good, I need to mention the amount of bugs too. Season 18 might have the most bugs out of any other season so far. Cassidy had a bug, Hazard had a bug, Venture, D.Va. Hammond was fucking killed and sent to the Shadow Realm. You can't buy anything from the hero gallery without resistance, you can't leave games with your group not evaporating, and if you leave custom games or practice range while searching for a game, it completely cancels the search, with probably lots more that I don't even know about. I don't want to sound too negative now, but I can't ignore this season having so many bugs. That's just not good and should be avoided. Of course you can't completely get rid of bugs, so I'm not trying to bash Overwatch for this. It just is a little much. But anyway, this was my Season 18 review, and to me it's looking pretty good. I don't find the bugs or a lack of execution in the progression side of things too bothering. I am more grateful about the things that we did get. So yeah, maybe that's where I'll leave it. It is looking to be a pretty good season.